He just yeets it into the ocean. Like, get over it. It's been 3 minutes, brother.
So
God.
finally, we're going to move on to the movie
Yeah.
review. So,
Yeah.
like
I think we've peaked, to be fair, like, but yeah, we'll do a movie review anyway.
we peaked about 6 podcasts ago, and we've only done 3.
That's true. That is true.
So the movie that we decided to review was Double Dragon from 1994, which we thought would give a post-mortem review, which is, how can I describe Double Dragon? Shit's ass.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next. Yeah, how could I? It's so gay.
What's so weird about it? I mean, there's many things that are weird about this movie, but like, for me, it's like the plot of Double Dragon is the girlfriend gets kidnapped, but like it's kind of neither of the brothers' girlfriends. Yeah. And then they spend the whole game fighting a bunch of enemies and bosses to get the girlfriend back. Then they fight at the end to see who gets the girl.
Oh yeah, because women are prizes.
Because women are prizes, of course.
I mean,
but then the film, they're like, hey, let's tell a completely different story.
Yeah. So that even in the 90s, they weren't learning a lesson about being faithful to the.
And weirdly, that's not the reason it's bad.
Oh, I know. I mean, like the story is. There was an earthquake and now there's new Angeles. It's a post-apocalyptic world. There's these two brothers with one half a dragon emblem, and then there's the Terminator 2's T-1000 with the other, who is now Chinese for some reason, and he's got like a Chinese hairstyle and he wears Chinese clothes even though he's white, and it turns himself into paper a lot.
Yeah, like, so there's obviously the medallion, which is the double dragon.
Yeah.
And it's 2 dragons, then kind of a yin and yang, and it splits off, and they have half, and obviously Robert Patrick, Terminator, has half. And each has a different power, so one's power over the body and one's power over the soul. And the way it's displayed the power of the soul is that, for some reason, I mean, the graphics are fucking dog shit.
Oh, the way.
He turns like into like a black and white GIF made out of paper, and he kind of just like slooshes and like vibrates like a fucking wet fucking towel being shook out, and then slinks into the ground and turns into a shadow. Yeah. He can like fly about as a shadow, and it's just what I loved is at the beginning when you see them going to hunt the first half of the medallion or the double dragon. It literally they're literally, it's like a bunch of samurai looking dudes are killing a bunch of monks who must obviously protect it. And it literally says, the description for the location, somewhere in China. And it's just them fucking up a bunch of monks. And there's this like, you think it's a samurai, you think it's a samurai dude with a whip, but obviously the big reveal is that it's a woman.
Yeah.
But that character has not only obviously I love a character who's like basically theme is that they're just like an item, like Odd Job with his hat from like James Bond. So hers is that she's got a whip, but throughout the film, without a whip, she literally can't do anything without a whip, basically. And she's called Linda Lash. Yeah. Couldn't believe that. I was like, what? Like, he refers to her as Lash, but then like it's just like listed in the credits as Linda
Lash.
Like, that's a porn star name for a start.
I love the fact that I love the fact that you stayed to the credits. I really applaud you for that, because as soon as it rolled titles, I was fucking out, mate. I mean,
I had to say if there was a bit at the end, you know what I mean? I wanted to know if there was sequel bait.
Sequel bait, yeah. It's just hard to explain the movie because it's just all terrible. I think there was one good joke that I laughed at unironically. I can't even remember it. I can't even remember the film, and I watched it yesterday. And I mean, Super Mario Brothers is bad, but I would prefer to watch Super Mario Brothers again over this. Now, this
was objectively worse than Super Mario Brothers.
It was.
What is it about all the films that were watched? They're all post-apocalyptic.
I know so far,
like everything's been post-apocalyptic in the 90s. Like, what's that about?
But yeah, like one of my biggest takeaways from the movie is it's like somebody. It's like it was made today for like £1 million, and they set it in the 90s and made everything really 90s. So their movie is very 90s of its time, of course, but it looks like they're pretending it's in the 90s.
Yeah.
So everyone's in like tracksuits and everyone's wearing like denim jackets around their waist and stuff. It's like it's overly 90s, and it was set in the 90s, and it was like they were trying too hard to be 90s when it was set in that era and was from that era.
Yeah.
It was just so over the top.
I love at the start when you get introduced to the brothers. So there's obviously the two brothers from the video game. Is it Jimmy and Billy? Is it?
I think so.
I didn't write their names down.
Remember their names.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Billy and Jimmy.
Yeah.
The thing is, as well, is I'm a Double Dragon kid, so I grew up playing Double Dragon. I didn't have because I think Streets of Rage was on Sega at the time, Mega Drive. And I didn't have a Mega Drive. I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. So I love Double Dragon, don't get us wrong. Like, but obviously it's a dumb game with like, not much story and stuff.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But and I did watch this as a kid because I definitely remember renting it because it's like I remember bits of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, you introduced to the two brothers and they're in like a karate tournament and they're having some sort of like tag team karate match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're like they're fighting, but then they're like arguing amongst themselves and tagging out.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell? And it's just like so weird. So then during the fight, earthquake aftershock happens because obviously, like you said, the whole idea is that earthquakes happened a long time ago. So part of the city submerged, and it's called, instead of Los Angeles or whatever, it's called New Angeles. In the years 2007, it's meant to be, which is hilarious.
Right. Okay.
But there's like an earthquake aftershock happens, and I don't understand why. You just the announcer just goes, "It's just an aftershock," and as if people should just be fine with it. And then you just see this like little midget guy go up to some sort of pump, and he just starts pumping this like machine, which I presume is meant to like release pressure for the aftershock or some shit, or pump water out. It's never explained, and he's just pumping it, and then they have they're having the karate fight and they get disqualified because Billy cheats by like jumping on the guy's back and like giving him a fucking head scrape or whatever. And they get disqualified. And then for some reason, all of the crowd just go and all throw their popcorn and storm the ring. But I mean, it's not a ring. It's kind of like, like a sumo ring where there's no barriers or whatever. But like, just all storming. It's just like all this popcorn. I've never understood popcorn throwing anyway because I don't waste food.
Yeah, and why?
Like, you can tell you're middle class. What are you wasting food for?
That goes in your face hole, not on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. But while they're all stopping to see, the little midget guy's still pumping away. And I'm just like, because I'm like, why though? What's he doing?
Yeah.
Is that really important? And would it not make sense to get a bigger, stronger guy to do the pumping?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe the director said to his mate, like, I'll get you in my film, don't worry. And he was just like, what can he do? And then they just created this scene for this little guy.
It's never explained. Nothing ever comes of it. It's just like...
Yeah, I'm just envisioning the dark, like, follow your dreams, little buddy. Pats him on his head, and he's like pumping. He's like, "This is my moment to shine." But yeah, it's just it's a police state, isn't it? So there's like a curfew at 6 o'clock, and everyone has to be in. And then at 6 o'clock at night, crime happens.
The gangs comes up, like crime.
It's
very Purge.
Yeah, it's very like the Purge. It's very Purge, but every night instead of once a year.
Yeah.
And
like,
so. I mean, it's like the different gangs and stuff. I get all that because they're in the game, and you see like some of the characters from the game.
It's very the Warriors. Like, it had a very Warriors vibe to it, where like there's all these themed gangs. So there's a gang literally called the Clowns,
and they're wearing clown makeup and shit.
Yeah, and then the worst named gang, where you see one of the main characters in the film he's from the worst named gang. They're called the Mohawks.
Yeah,
it's like, well, the barrier for entry is quite low.
It is like,
gang, isn't it? Like,
but imagine if you don't want a Mohawk though, but you have to have one if you want to join the gang. Like, I'm gonna have a Mohawk, man.
Yeah, I have to go with the fucking blonde tipped side parting gang instead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I went with the Quiff
boys,
the
spiky boys. So there's
boys.
So there's like the leader of the Mohawks, who's this giant dude called Bobo.
Yeah,
which is like obviously one of the bosses in the game essentially.
Yeah.
So in the game, obviously he's massive, and like in the game, his face is basically like a giant fucking circle. He's got like a fucking moon face.
Yeah.
So in the game, he's just normal. In the film, he's just normal looking. But they're like, oh, but he can bench 800 pounds. I'm like, no, he can't.
No, you can't.
he's big. He's not that big.
I mean, the thing I noticed the most about him was he was breathing heavily all the time. Like, he'd get out of the car, like, why is he doing that?
There was a lot of grunting.
Yeah, a lot of grunting from this dude. And like, I didn't understand. Like, he's supposed to be imposing, but why is he doing the big breathing thing? It's like, to me, he's just out of breath. I'm just gonna run around him till he gets tired and kick him in the nuts. Like, that's not scary.
Yeah, it was just weird. There was like a lot of that to kind of set up the scene. Like, they're late back from the karate tournament, so they're out after curfew. So they're driving along in their car, and it's never explained, but there's like, during the karate scene, there's like an Asian woman who's like, he thinks they're manager or something,
right?
Because it's never explained at that point.
Yeah.
Who I think is just called Satori or something.
Yeah.
And it's never explained that at that point who she is. But then they're in this like the family saloon, which is basically just like a normal like estate like car, but then it has like big bars on the outside that like power like a fiery exhaust.
Yeah.
Because obviously everything's cyberpunk kind of post-apocalyptic Mad Max setting. And then they get caught out after curfew, and then they see what appears to be an attractive woman repairing a car. And obviously that's a ruse to get them to pull over, and that's when the Mohawks show up.
Yeah.
But this is just really to introduce you to like Bobo. And then they have like a chase scene, which is like, oh my God, the graphics in the chase scene. At one point, they're being chased in that saloon by Bobo, who's driving like a big truck. And he presses a button, and like a stick with like basically just a tiny little camera on, but it looks so shit, just like pops up and then starts going into fucking like really shit graphics, and it's like tactical tracker, and it's like and it's doing the outline of the car and all this shit.
Oh my God.
They have like a really cheesy fucking, well, speaking of cheesy, they have such a cheesy chase scene that they're trying to get away, that they use a can of like cheese in a can called Cheese Whiz, which I think is a brand in America.
Yeah.
They put a can of Cheese Whiz into the like tank, and that gives them like a NOS like boost to the car, and the car's like flying out, fueled entirely on cheese. Like, it's just,
I mean, that's the type of car I want. Do you know what I mean? It's just an excuse to buy more cheese. I love myself some cheese. My car needs it, but you're still eating it, Paul. I know, but it's from my car.
So then they get saved by like a gang who are like there to kind of, so they're a gang who are out when the gangs are out after dark, but they're like against the gangs.
Yeah.
They're like an altruistic gang or whatever, and they're ran by Alyssa Milano, which is just like, what?
Yeah.
What I didn't get about Alyssa Milano was like, she was kind of like the love interest. And like they kind of sexualized her in scenes where like, you know, the scenes where like she's wearing like stirrups essentially with her butt out essentially. And they're like looking at her butt and all that and being like, damn, and they're like kind of fighting over her. But then it's kind of also implied that she's like a child.
Yeah, I know. It was very,
so like in the same vein, she's like the police, she's like the captain of the police's daughter, and she's like pretending to just go to school and be normal through the day, but then she's sneaking out at night to be the leader of an adult gang of, it's like the gang's like full of adults, but then it's also protecting like lost children as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck?
I mean, as a kid, Alyssa Milano was, I think it was like every young boy that always had somebody that had a crush on. Mine was Alyssa Milano. She was gorgeous. She still is now. So obviously as a kid seeing the movie, I was like, wow. And you don't see the predatory nature of the two main characters because like she's bent over like, going for a grade, and they're like, whoa, I want to go first so I get to be next to that ass. Like,
they're fighting over who gets to go through the grade first. So
these are supposed to be our heroes, and they're just like, yeah, but I want to bang her, mate. No, let me. I mean,
that's obviously you're not expecting anything out of a film like this, but there were hugely unlikable characters. Like, and like anytime there was kind of any moment of emotion between the two, where they were like, you know, trying to come to terms with like certain characters, like Satori dies in a scene, so like them trying to come to terms with that, like neither of them come across as likable in that.
Well, that's
sense.
it, yeah. Like Billy's like sat like upset, like looking out onto the ocean, and then Jimmy's like, "What are you doing? Get over it!" and like throws a box in the water. And he's like, "Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry." Like, well,
but it was like a box full of pictures and all his stuff and that.
And he's just like, he just yeets it into the ocean. Like, get over it. It's been 3 minutes, brother.
Do you know what I loved is they lived in like an old cinema, like they lived in an old like movie theater.
Yeah,
like that was so cool. Like that was a really good set because that probably was just an old movie theater that they actually rented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So prior to that scene where they're in the theater though, Bobo, who's failed obviously to capture them in the car chase scene, for some reason gets transport. Well, at least Lash, the whip girl, barely wraps the whip around his neck and then walks him downstairs to like this underground laboratory at Robert Patrick's headquarters or whatever. And he also has two Asian henchmen who look the same and dress in like
Huey and Lewis.
Huey and Lewis, so they can make Huey Lewis and the news jokes and shit. They're like his henchmen, but you notice they were carrying his pinkies, so they're
Yeah,
escorting him.
we're holding his hands, yeah.
Because this guy is massive. He's got to be like 6'5" or something.
Yeah.
And like they're like your typical Asian blokes, they're like 5'8" or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they're tiny. And they're literally like holding his pinkies and walking him. So she's got the fucking whip just barely wrapped around his neck, walking him. And they're holding his pinkies and they're just like barely escorting him. Like he could throw all three of them.
Yeah.
Apparently he can lift 800 pounds. They don't weigh fucking 6,
That's
the three of them to come back.
Yeah.
And they're walking into this chair where he's going to be like tortured or some shit. Like you don't really know at this point. And he just like cuts to him screaming. He's like, I'm thinking, I could throw them three away. I'm not 6'5". I could throw them
exactly.
Like,
yeah, man.
They're not even holding you. They're holding your pinky. So anyway, he gets operated on and becomes, and hilariously, they listed him here as Bobo 2.
Yeah, because it's played by a different character. It's by a different actor, sorry. Yeah, it's a total different actor. So, I mean, mental.
Bobo 2 is just him in a suit, isn't it? And the suit is like, he's all jacked up. He looks like a bit like Batman and Robin's Bane. Yeah. But like even bigger and worse.
But with extra testicles, yeah.
And he's
because that's what they look like. It looked like a nutsack.
His traps look like balls, don't they? They're so bulbous. They're like up to here. It's like he can barely move. The guy in the fucking suit can barely move, and he becomes dead slow and shit. And there's just a whole fight scene in the theater where this is where Satori dies. They're having a whole fight scene. What's weird, right, is that Bobo's about to get them. And then they get saved by Satori, who at this point they think she's well, actually, no, you don't think she's dead. At this point, she's been grabbed. She's been grabbed by Robert Patrick. So I'm like, how the fuck is she there to save them? But then obviously it turns out because obviously Robert Patrick can turn into a bit of paper and then turn into a fucking shadow. He's like went inside of her, the dirty bastard, and is now controlling Satori. So, but then what he does is obviously he saves them from a Bobo, and then he tries to attack them.
Yeah,
it makes no sense because you're like, he's on your side. You've made him. Just let him get the fucking that double dragon, and you're fine.
It would have made more sense if he had have done that, and then half the way through the film revealed that it was him the whole time, and he grabs the amulet. Yeah, but it's like he kicks Bobo into whatever it was, and then Bobo goes, "Daddy," and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm the bad guy," and then he.
Yeah, it's
just instantaneous. It's like 2 frames later. She's like, "Yeah, I'm Robert Patrick, bro. Like, give us the double dragon emblem thing or whatever it's called, amulet."
They also did the same thing twice, which really irrationally annoyed us. Was he trapped Satori in a cage though, where the door was like locked?
Yeah,
and then it was like, oh, he's setting fire to the theater so that they're gonna have to leave her and she's gonna burn in the theater alive.
Yeah,
but then they just kind of pull on the door and she kicks the door and the door opens, so she's out.
Yeah.
And then, like, a few seconds later, like, they run out the theater, but then she shuts the fire escape behind them, so that's just trapped, kind of hoping to trap Rob Patrick, but obviously he just gets away. And then she gets trapped inside the theater and burns alive anyway. And it's just like, why didn't they just do that when she was already trapped? Just leave it where they had to make the choice to run away or something.
Well, that's it, yeah. Because it was like she was like out of danger and then immediately back in it. So it takes
immediately.
Yeah, like it's literally seconds. She's like, "Oh my god, they got her out. That's really good. She's not going to die." And then she's like, "No, but I have to stay here and chin paper boy." And then locks the door. And then he just like does this amulet thing, rubs his hands, goes into a paper wavy thing, and then disappears. And then does all that.
When he disappears, he leaves obviously as the shadow. He goes across a piano and like runs all his fingers across the piano.
Like, what?
That was hilarious. And then he laughs. He's like, piano.
Piano. I'm a paper boy.
I'm the piano man. It's just like, all right.
Do you know the thing that I love about the whole film is that effect is so bad, but they continuously show you that effect. Like, if they show it once, you've seen it once, you know what he's doing. If he's inside somebody else, you know he's done, he's rubbed his hands, he's went waving paper boy. But they're like, no, we're going to keep showing that effect the whole film. Like,
what's weird as well is,
and like, it's the shadow of him choking him, and this guy's just going, and then it's like wavy paper boy again. Like, stop showing this really bad effect. It's not good. Why do you keep doing it?
It's so
ridiculous.
Bad. What's hilarious is it's like a trope of the film is that he knows how to activate the power in his half of the dragon, but the brothers don't know how to activate theirs. Yeah, several times in the film they see him rub his hands together with the amulet in his hands and change. It's like quite clearly, obviously, what he does to activate it. Just do that.
Yeah, just try that
6 times. Like,
just put because they do eventually rub it, and then like someone's got one of those things that spin around. I can't remember what they're called. I used to call them UFO boys because you just
wow.
And like I said to myself, like, before that, I was like, you saw what Robert Patrick did. Just one of you put it on and do that, and, you know, Bob's your uncle. But it takes, like, all the way through the film, and then he throws it away, and, like, is that what it is? Has it got, like, one of those abandonment kinks where it's like, as soon as you throw it away, it's like, oh, well, I'll come back to you now and work. You know what I mean? It's like, please, Daddy, I'll stop. Like, I just didn't understand the logic in it at all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like breathtakingly bad where like like I said earlier, it's like kind of like the Warriors with the gangs, and that was the only thing that I enjoyed. Like, this is my favorite scene by far. There's like, well, it's like kind of a 2-in-1 scene. There's like, you say, like a Warrior style gang meet where all the gangs are meeting, and Robert Patrick's like, I'm the new leader sort of thing, and he chokes the leader that's there. It's a shadow, like you said. So like that's cool, but then it leads to, like, obviously that means the gang is now going to break the curfew and go after the guys through the day when they're not supposed to. So there's a scene where obviously they're essentially, like, say, they're getting over Satori dying 4 seconds ago. It's been 4 seconds, so Jimmy's annoyed that Billy's still upset about losing. Who's essentially their surrogate mother. Who's like apparently brought them up and shit. And he's just like, it's been 4 seconds, dude. Get on with it. You know what I mean? He eats all of our belongings into the fucking ocean. And then they're walking by the river, and then they're just like presented with all the gangs. And it's such a classic gang scene because it pans out and there's all these different people from different gangs wearing the outfit. And they're doing the classic, like, punching their hands, patting bats in their hands, swinging a chin. And the best one is it's just a lass dressed as a schoolgirl with a backpack, just swinging it around her head. Just like, no reason. I rewatched it 6 times. I was like, what's she doing? You're gonna hit us with our school books? Like, am I supposed to be more?
Jesus Christ, that's
so they're like swinging chins and patting bats and like clenching their fists and all these fearsome looks, and then there's like a fucking 12-year-old kid swinging a bag around their head, like, hey,
it's got a thesaurus in this. I'm gonna fucking do you.
Knowledge is power. Like, fucking ridiculous.
Oh, fucking hell.
So the best, so they have that whole scene is just brilliant. So they have a scene where they're like fighting through the gangs and it's very cheesy, and they're like opening car doors on guys and flipping it. And the best bit is there's a guy who's like above them on some sort of building, and he's dressed as a postman because there's a postman themed gang.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like there's a bunch of postmen who have obviously risen up and they're just sick of it, but he's still wearing his outfit and he's got his back. And he jumps off to like kind of jump on them, and loads of like fucking letters are falling as he's falling through the air. He shouts, it's like special delivery, and jumps off and he goes, Emil!
Do you know what I love about it? Like, the way you described it is like they'd risen up and they've become a gang. They're still collecting postal. Do you know what I mean?
Collecting postal. They're still going to the depot. They want their wage.
So they're going to get that. They're going to get that postal. They're not going to post it, but they're still going to get paid. And he's still got. What a gang! Like,
and his insults are post fucking band theme.
Of course they are. Emil.
It's like Postman Pat coming over and slapping him, going, Postman slap. Like, all right, what do you mean? So they end up like they're being chased by the gang, and they run down to back to the riverside and end up in a boathouse. And the boathouse has this like really fancy looking motorcycle in, and I'm just like, how? Like, this is like the trampiest like boathouse ever, where they're like the gang are like punching holes through the fucking wall in the post house and that. And he gets on the motorbike, and the motorbike falls apart hilariously, so that they can reveal that there's what is this fucking boathouse? Because not only does it have a motorbike in, but it also has a speedboat in.
Yeah.
So then they jump in a speedboat, and you get the weirdest speedboat chase scene.
Yeah, when they set fire to the river as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but like they're on the speedboat, and then 2 guys show up on jet skis, and I'm like, where did they come from? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, like in a video game where there's a chase scene, like 50 cars are chasing you.
Yeah.
You're like, there wouldn't be this many cars. It was like that. I was like, fuck off.
They tried to take the video game tropes into the movie, and again, it's still terrible. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Did you read the trivia about them setting fire to the water?
On IMDb, yeah. I always IMDb it, yeah.
So they use 700 gallons of gasoline and 200 gallons of alcohol for an explosion at that kind of end scene. And apparently they had to announce it on the news
And yeah, there was still people calling the police because
Yeah, that's
they were
insane.
terrified.
Like,
I think it's great that they're doing a practical effect because obviously back then CGI
yeah.
wasn't that great. But I mean, that's a lot of stuff to use for a 3 second scene. Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
it really
It
is. It's
really
such
is.
considering such a massive explosion. It's such an underwhelming moment, and
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah. The
it's
whole movie
like
is
an
though.
explosion. It's like over in a flash, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Like the one thing I will say is Mark. I can't remember. I can't pronounce his last name. Deskakokis or something like that. I do
Yeah, the guy
apologize.
out of
Yeah.
John Wick.
Yeah, he knows his stuff with like martial arts, and you can see that in the movie.
Yeah.
I literally after watching that, I watched another film of his called Drive, and
All right.
it's a decent enough movie. I saw it when I was a kid, and I watched it again, and it still holds up. It's pretty good. He knows his stuff, but the brother you can tell doesn't. So like they'll
Yeah.
cut from him doing a kick. And then they'll cut to the brother doing a kick, and it's just night and day the difference.
Yeah.
So I
They
will
just
say
hired
like
the brother because he was handsome. That was it.
well,
It
that's
was
it,
just
yeah.
like a typical
That's it.
handsome
Like
protagonist.
nowadays, they put them through like boot camps and stuff to get them to learn
Yeah.
kung fu and what have you. But you could just tell the difference. Like that guy, Mark, that guy, he did amazing in the martial arts side of things.
Yeah.
But then they made him the bad guy and Billy the good guy. But then he was like doing terrible martial arts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you were focused on the one who wasn't good at doing the martial arts.
Yeah.
And I personally think it should have been the other way around because it was just it was terrible, man, really bad.
It really was. I like the scene where Alyssa Milano is torturing Bobo
with spinach.
Because basically after he's obviously like been defeated in the theater, he gets captured, and obviously she's a child.
Yeah,
she's like a child character, and like, but she's the leader of this gang, and they've got him tied up, and she's overfeeding him spinach. It's like a torture. Like,
yeah,
she's basically waterboarding him with spinach. I'm just like, what the fuck is this film? And he's like burping. He's like, ugh. And then what's the bit later on when they're back at Robert Patrick's headquarters, and then they're back in the basement where Boo was created, and then all of a sudden, just like a zombie basketball player's fighting them.
I don't know.
Like, what?
Was that a genuine basketball player for that time? And it was like a cameo.
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
I think it was. Yeah.
Because I was just like, what?
Because I'm like, why is he?
Why?
Because I mean, obviously he was a fucking giant, but he was wearing a basketball outfit as well. He had like the basketball jersey on and everything. I was just like, okay.
But the whole movie's that though. It's just weird scenes and then like weird things in said scenes. Like the Robert Patrick choking that mutant guy or whatever he's supposed to be. Like, why didn't you just choke him? And why was everybody on board after he choked him as a shadow? All the guys were like, yeah. Like, why?
It made no sense. Like, I'm the leader of the gang.
Killed one dude.
And they're like, why? And he's just like, no, you're not. And he chokes him out and he's like, yeah, okay. Well, now we'll break the curfew. And
because all of those people could have stamped Robert Patrick, but they were all like, well, he killed one guy. We're on board. It's just ludicrous, man. It really is. I
like the fucking scene where Bobo goes from being a bad guy to a good guy. Yeah. Because when she's torturing him, she's like, why are you defending? Like, why won't you tell where his secret sort of thing? Because he's tortured you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of implied in that he doesn't understand that this has happened to him.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where he sees his reflection and he cannot believe that's what he looks like. Yeah. And that turns him from bad guy to good guy. Yeah. But I'm like, you're telling me he doesn't know that he hasn't noticed he cannot fucking turn his head.
Maybe he thought he was in like a Batman costume.
With these ball shoulders. He's just like, can you smell balls? It smells like sweaty balls wherever I am. And they're a bit burnt because he's burnt, isn't he?
He is.
It smells like burnt scrotum. Do you know?
Like, anybody smell that burnt scrotum? It's you, Bobo. It's not, man. It just follows me around.
I think Bobo actually translates directly to burnt scrotum.
Burnt scrotum, it is. It's his native name, yeah. It definitely is.
But I like at the end when they unite the two medallions, and then that makes Robert Patrick split off into two exact copies of like shit Buffy looking monster vampire things like with swords, and then ensues the most boring fight scene ever.
I think it's basically because obviously Robert Patrick didn't learn any martial arts for the movie, so they couldn't really have him do the martial arts, so they just put obviously two martial artists in these Buffy looking motherfucking demon costumes, and I mean, it just made no sense. You would think he'd be like this all-powerful dude now and he could just kick their ass and you'd see that. But he splits them off into two demons and then they beat the demons and then he possesses Robert Patrick, Jimmy. He's like, I've been a naughty boy. Have £12 million, please. Arrest me.
That's probably the last thing I want to comment on, because I just think it was just so. It's like, this guy it comes out that Robert Patrick killed that dad.
Yeah.
So Robert Patrick's murdered that father.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like, he goes inside of him, like, you know, like possesses him.
Yeah.
And then he just starts slapping. He's like, "Why are you hitting yourself? But just slapping him like, he killed your dad." Like, why are you hitting yourself? Oh, he's a naughty boy.
Yeah.
He murdered your father.
He killed your father, and he killed
your
Satori. Yeah, and you're just like, naughty boy, naughty boy. And
you know why? You know why? Because 4 seconds after his dad died, he was like, he got over it. Didn't he?
Well, he did. He just his stuff into the ocean. He's like, I'm over it.
His dad's stuff into the ocean. All his dad's prized fucking trophies.
Yeah.
And he's just like, swish,
he's like, I'm over this. I mean, I'm starting to think that Jimmy might be a psychopath. He just has feelings for nobody. He's like, it was 4 minutes ago. What are you crying for? But yeah, like, the comeuppance is like, well, I'm going to write a big check to the police and you can arrest us. Like, you murdered your dad. You've got all this power. Yeet him into the ocean. Do you know what I mean?
So that was double tracking?
Yeah. I mean, fiery scrotum. That's. I'd rather set fire to me scrotum than watch this again.
It was weird, because when you'd said about the Super Mario Brothers review, like, I never want to watch this again. I was like, I'd watch that again, because it was so dumb. It was fun. I would not watch this again.
Nah. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I had to watch it in 2 parts. I was just like, I've watched 45 minutes. I'll come back. It was an hour and 29 minutes, and it still felt longer than the Batman. It genuinely did.
So that seems like the perfect place to end. So, you know, thank you very much for watching. Find one on all major podcast platforms, pretty much. YouTube.
Yes, please do. And thanks for watching.